So there's a new German horror flick on Netflix called Das Privilege.
That's privilege, yeah.
Privilege?
Mm-hmm.
The Privilege. And, what's this about? It's about,
Demon.
yeah. It's about a kid who witnesses something terrible when he's a child, and when he is older, after this tragedy, he starts experiencing some visions and thinks that things are really what this movie is one of those like I think something's happening and everyone's like you're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Right? This movie's been done a trillion fucking times. Like he's seeing demons and he's trying to uncover this conspiracy thing and everyone's like you're nuts, you're nuts, you're nuts. This is just these kinds of movies are made so often. Overall, I was definitely way more on the side of this is generic as fuck. Now towards the end, they introduce some cool things, and I like the look of certain things, and I like the idea of certain things, but it still stays fairly generic. It just has some moments to them that I'm like, oh, that's. I always refer to this as like a cherry picking movie for me, like where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take that, and I'll take that. That was pretty cool. Oh, and you can have the rest, right? Like I did quite like because there's the main kid, and then he has like his best friend, and then his love interest. And I did by the end like these characters, and I like wanted to see them succeed. So they did sell me on that, and it's a totally watchable generic movie. It's not something I feel like you're wasting your time with, but it's not a standout by any means, and is something that I'll mostly forget within a month.
I don't think I'm gonna forget it. I mean, it's generic in some ways for sure, but I like the main concept behind it. I really enjoyed, and I think it's unique. It's not that it hasn't been done before, obviously, but I like that the way they went about it with this, and yeah, I don't know, the feel of the movie and the way things looked were really nice for me, but it is generic in some ways.
The problem is that the reveal of what's happening here is a mixture of a couple of films that are quite popular movies. I'm not going to say what those are because that would give it away, but it's something I've seen done a lot. And there's definitely questions I have. They're mild. I definitely didn't leave this going like, what the fuck was that? What did this mean? It was kind of just like, oh, well, how did this come to be? And that's all minor stuff. So that's not really a negative. It's just I guess what's on my mind in the moment. They do go for this like roll your eyes, insanely generic ending that I've seen a trillion times, and I really wish would die in horror films. It's my least favorite thing about horror movies, probably ever. It's just that extra stinger you don't need. You know?
Yeah, I would have liked a more kind of ambiguous ending than what we got. That's probably one of my biggest complaints with the movie, but aside from that, everything else I enjoyed.
It's fine. I was into the movie, and that's just it. I was like, okay, I'm into this. It kept me wanting to watch it. I never felt bored, but I just kept thinking, and of course, you're gonna have a different experience depending on your level of like how many horror films you've watched in your life, right? Like I've seen too many at this point, almost where everything's starting to feel generic to me. I'm just like, I've seen that 300 times. But we watched the movie last night, which we're going to talk about here in a minute after we do this one. And I've seen that done 100 times. But there was something about the feel of it. There was something about the uniqueness of things. There was something about, and we'll get into it, but it just, I really was into it. And even though I had seen that a ton, it's just the execution that always matters. And the execution here is fine. Mm-hmm. Like, it had some surprises, but nothing to write home about. Nothing that I was like, oh, wow, that was really cool. Like, I really liked that. As far as, like, the selling point of the film for the little teaser type thing that they put on, whether it be the picture or the little 10 seconds. Because I don't... Did we say Netflix? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did say Netflix, yeah. German, Netflix, something. Because, yeah, it's like a demon monster movie kind of thing. As far as that kind of promise, I wasn't really into that. I found it to be fairly hokey because of the digital effects that were used. It's one of those things where less is more. Mm-hmm. And while we don't see it a lot, when we do see it, I think it's on the screen a little too much for what it is. Like, if you're going to have something be on the screen for more than a second, it needs to look really fucking good. Yeah. I mean, it should look fucking good anyway.
Sure. But if you're able to, like, look at it and analyze it and really...
If you can't make it look good, just don't put it on the screen and make it more of, like, a presence that it's like, what is that? And leave it for the mind. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm not saying this looks bad. It just didn't look awesome to me.
Yeah, and it looked the same throughout, too. There wasn't really any changes in its appearance. And
yeah.
That would have made it maybe more interesting.
Yeah. And, of course, I would like this to be more graphic. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that something that both of us are going to immediately attach ourselves to is a minor connection to The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. Right? That's going to immediately make us go, ooh, The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm going to have to talk to you about that after. I think I know, but I'm not 100% on what that has to do with what happens in the end. So, maybe I think I get it, but I'm just going to, talk to you about it after, because I'm not 100% on it.
Made sense to me.
Okay. So. Maybe I just missed some line or something that was like, they explained it. I was ordering groceries online during it, so you never know. Anyways, it's fine. It's if you got nothing else to watch, you're on Netflix and you're like, ooh, what's a new horror movie? I like monster movies. Yeah, it's worth a view.
Check it out.
Yeah, I don't think it's something you need to buy. I don't think it's something you need to watch over and over again to get the deeper meaning. I don't think it's going to scare you silly. I don't, it's entertaining enough.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. To me, that's always like a non-recommendation when I say that.
But it's entertaining enough.
It's like, it's all right. Yeah. And a lot of, and I don't blame you guys. Like, if someone's out there, and they're like, I don't got time for just all right.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before. And I fucking am
with you, man.
Too, how it's like those middle of the road movies are not as exciting as like the really bad ones or the really good ones.
Sure.
Because I'm, either end of the spectrum, you have something to talk about or to take away from it.
Yeah, if we did like a full spoiler discussion on this, I don't think I'd have a lot more to say outside of just finer details, like a sex scene that I was not expecting at all. I don't know. I wouldn't really have a ton to say. So that's, yeah, you're right. That's the middle of the road films leave me with I don't know what to say. Yeah. It's like every other movie I ever saw.
Yeah.
So that's it. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next one. Let us know if you watch it. It's on Netflix. Bye.